Welcome back to the 2.5 Kiwi podcast. I'm joined here with Luke Not So Wise Robson.
As we'll find out, no doubt.
And Aaron Mystic Meg Shields.
I've got my crystal ball, I'm just not going to show it to you.
Let's keep the balls out of the camera, that'd be great. Right, so we're going over week 6 of the Super Rugby season, a few big games in there. The main one obviously being the Canes versus the Highlanders. Let's get straight into that and let's get Luke to start us off.
Well, pretty heartbroken after the result. The mighty Highlanders going down to a pretty convincing Hurricanes outfit. I was really impressed by the Hurricanes, I have to admit, and I do think they deserve the win. The finishing of the Hurricanes, I think, was the difference, as we'll soon discuss.
When you can finish
the unicorn of the
when
week.
You can finish 90 degrees upside down, I mean.
Yeah.
That's the difference, isn't it, at this level?
Yeah. When you can finish backwards and sideways and stuff like that. It's the defining
But I think,
line of the victory.
As the competition goes on, you're going to see more and more of those sort of clutch plays, the ones that come off, and the teams that can consistently do that, like the Canes. I mean, these guys do it every day. It's like they play touch at practice, Tuesday, Thursdays, for 2 hours. They're the clutch plays that change a game.
Let's not forget they did lose to the Bulls at the start of the season.
Oh yeah, early days.
And I think we're starting to see that as more and more of almost an anomaly. Like it's going to be a real. It's thankfully for all the other teams that it's going to give them a chance at playoffs. Yeah. But I think they look definitely the form team at the moment, eh?
I have to agree with you, Luke. Again, gutted the Highlanders went down, but they just didn't have an answer for that counter attack and the style of play that the Hurricanes have. You can't let them move the ball. That's the issue. And as soon as you start doing that, they'll just run rampant over any team, in my opinion.
Yep. I think that Beauden Barrett little chip kick. Well, when I first watched it and Ben Smith, and I thought, oh, here we go. And then you watch the replay, and you actually see Beauden Barrett. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing throughout that kick. He put his foot there at the exact angle on purpose. So it was a lot less of a fluke than it looked. And while it was arguably a 14-point play, it just once again showed the class of Beauden Barrett and his pace again. No one came close to him.
His pace is pretty phenomenal.
Well, he is the best in the world.
Yeah. There's a part of you that goes, oh, bugger, the Highlanders, conceded a try. But then there's another part of you that says, oh, I can't wait to see that in black again and just doing that to the English or the Irish later in the year, So it's a real bittersweet moment.
Coming from you last week where you were saying you're not an All Blacks fan and you're more of a Highlanders fan. You've literally just reversed it in one sentence.
Listeners, welcome to the most hypocritical person you've ever bestowed your ear for.
Oh, surprised it's taking you to week 6 to figure that out, but anyway.
You also listen to the D-Mac's biggest fan, and we're not talking about Jack.
That'll come next. Yeah.
Okay.
So 29-12, pretty convincing win. It was a masterclass from the Hurricanes at home, and they were rearing for it. I think I did pick that one correctly, but
it was
another new week.
It was the Highlanders' first loss though. They were unbeaten, so that's why everyone was thinking that maybe. I don't know. It does show that it's tight competition at the top, and that's why I touched on them obviously losing to the South African teams. Those points are going to maybe be crucial towards the end of the season.
Yeah,
definitely.
And noticing that the Hurricanes didn't get a bonus point in their win, nor did the Highlanders get one in their loss. So again, I think if you are going to, win or lose, those little bonus points are going to be crucial.
Yeah.
One player I really thought stood out for the Hurricanes was Gareth Evans, who was a Highlander last year, and I thought he just clearly had a point to prove, and he was all over that breakdown. Got a lot of quick, got his hands in there early, and got a lot of penalties for the Hurricanes, which I think became a difference for them. So big kudos.
And what do you think of Ben Lamb? He's like the week before.
He's a monster. He's a monster on the wing.
The week before, we actually forgot to touch on it, but the pace which he showed on that try last week, week 5, was just ridiculous. Like he literally burned that guy for dead, and there's nowhere near him. Obviously, I think did he get 2 tries this week as well?
Yeah.
And they were clutch tries as well, not just using his pace. He used his strength and just determination to get the ball on the line. And I mean, that's what you want from a winger, to be able to finish, like what Ioane was doing in the AB setup. He was just finishing everything. So interesting season ahead.
I think. Oh, even more interesting is going to be when Milner Skudder comes back from injury, because suddenly you've got Savia, Milner Skudder, Vince Asso, and then Ben Lamb all essentially competing for those those wing / fullback wing spots, because the Barretts have got fullback and first five covered. So
absolutely.
Put it this way, what was Corey Jane was doing the pre-match, as a guest host, and you almost thought, man, they might miss him. Nope. Not at all.
The Smiths were underwhelming for the Highlanders too, unfortunately, and I think again we touched on it in previous podcasts. If they're not firing and connecting with Naholo out wide, the Highlanders don't have a lot in the tin, to be honest.
Yeah, Bender made a couple of just uncharacteristic errors. I mean, one of them where he just went to go for a counter attack and just blatantly ran into the back of Rob Thompson. But there was nothing even on. Like, even if he had slipped through, he was unsupported, and just a couple of little sloppy things like that. That just
you probably wouldn't see DMAC doing that, eh?
Is that going to be a good segue into
the Chiefs game?
I thought maybe just before we do that, we should probably touch on the unicorn of the week.
Yes, of course.
Don't want to miss out on that one. I reckon Luke could give the best description of it. We're giving you a limit of 10 words though, mate, so make them
make them count.
Yeah. Vince Also's athletic circus-bound efforts in the corner to literally be 180 degrees in the air while scoring a heartbreaking try for all Highlanders fans was definitely worthy of Unicorn of the Week.
Yeah, have to agree. Beautiful try.
Definitely over 10 words, but we'll let it we'll let it slide.
We'll let it go.
But yeah, phenomenal try.
Thanks, mate.
So yeah, moving on to the Sunwolves v the Chiefs. Everyone knew what the result was going to be. Just the score was obviously quite interesting.
50 points is a lot to put on a team. At this level,
regardless.
Especially at home, I actually feel a little bit heartbroken for the Sunwolves.
After they came so close the week before.
The reception was actually really good though. Even though they lost, it was still high spirits at the end of the game. I mean,
well, they're great supporters, aren't they?
Yeah. So I mean,
they absolutely get behind their team. So
that's good. But I guess we got to touch on the main man.
Here we go. Now you're only allowed 10 words.
DMAC is amazing. I'll use 3. Right, anyway.
Mate, it's against average competition, mate.
It is against... and that's obviously going to get thrown up. But I mean, the comments made before the game was the 10 experiment has failed, from a lot of people. And it's so stupid. You got a guy who's 22... literally showing the world of promise, and there's just critics out there just trying to knock him because he's moved from 15, where he was possibly the best fullback in the competition last season, to then...
when you did your residency application, how'd you go on the Tall Poppy questionnaire? Didn't quite understand that message.
Right. Anyway,
if anyone's doing better,
exactly. I didn't realise we were doing my immigration video. I thought we were doing a podcast on rugby, but whatever.
We're just making sure that you are legitimately allowed to be here, and you do call yourself half a Kiwi.
Right.
Finally, Bulls versus Crusaders. Are we moving on to that already? Or?
Okay, well, you've obviously just had to do...
So the only thing I was going to bring up in the Sunwolves game was
Sam
just
Kane's
a couple of... Well, actually, Sam Kane's cultural diversity. At the end of the game, he got asked this question in full-on Japanese. It was a long, strung-out Japanese phrase, and he just looks at them and just yeah, absolutely. And just carries on with his thing. I was just Sam Kane, there's anything you can't do,
I like how you said it was a Japanese phrase. It was just them doing a sentence, mate. It was
it's an old Japanese adage.
That's just the language they speak.
Foreign to you, nonetheless, Luke.
But no, I think to sum up that game, obviously... dominating performance from the Chiefs. D-Mac excelled at 10. He has to obviously do it though in the New Zealand Derby games, which is obviously where he's got to prove
absolutely.
it.
I think
so. When he starts doing that week in,
any
week
waiting
out,
personally,
to say no.
Don't get me wrong. I want to see him go. I want to see him go well. I mean, but it's not a good side to sort of judge a performance against. I'm sorry.
No, it's not. But the execution of the kicks and all that kind of stuff was pretty perfect. Like that is some of those scenarios were regardless of position.
Yeah, fair call.
I mean,
I'll actually back you up there, Jack, and say that though they weren't walk-in tries by any means. Like those tries that the Chiefs scored, a lot of them were like seriously good tries, and I was seriously impressed. The only thing I'll say is the Sunwolves. There were a couple of talking points around two of their tries. One of which the player, as he went to go score, had it in his hands and it rolled down to his thigh, and he scored it with his thigh, and they deemed that a knock on. I'm a big fan of that. I think any loss of control of the ball towards the try line, whether you still have control of it in brackets is for me, knock on. So good call there. But then they made the following up one was Michael Leach drifted across and had the ball in one hand and literally placed it in the guy's stomach. I think it was their winger, like in front of him, and they just let it go.
Yeah, I did.
And so
see that,
and they did. You did see that one, and it was just weird because it's like it was like you sort of do that. You do it at training in a four corners drill where you sort of place the ball in front of the guy for him to run onto it, and you wouldn't do it in a game, but you did it. And they didn't look into it. So I think that was a case of TMO sort of almost feeling guilty for cancelling their last try and just being like, oh shit, we won't even look at it.
But cancelling it rightfully so. I mean, does that really give... Anyway, yeah.
It doesn't give them reason,
It's like, oh yeah, we
Anyway,
we made the right decision there, so let's make the wrong one now just to balance it out.
Even it out. Well, this is that rugby karma that Luke was talking about last week.
Oh yeah, the
rugby thoughts. I was hoping you'd bring it up actually. So.
Oh, here we go. Right. Let's start a 4-hour rant on the rugby thoughts.
So moving on to the last and most thrilling game, Crusaders v Bulls. Crusaders obviously coming off the back of a loss. No, 2 straight losses, wasn't it? I think.
I'll just double check that. So they lost to the Highlanders and they lost to the Canes. Yeah.
So really needed some points. Had some of the guys back, Whitelock and Crotty, which was Crotty showed the difference at the start.
It's that leadership aspect, man. It's you just can't put a value on that, eh?
Yeah, and it also had our coach killer of the week, which was actually down from a very positive display from the Bulls, where they dominated possession in the early doors, and they must have had, I think it was about 4 of the exact same lineouts from 5 minutes, tried the lineout drive every single time and failed. And then moments later, Crusaders get into their half for the first time of the whole game. Again, a 5-minute lineout, and then they go and score. And that was the underlying difference of the game. No matter how much possession you have, if you can't finish the ball, then you're going to get penalised against these New Zealand teams, even if you're dominating the ball.
Yeah. Now, a good coach killer. It is it's bloody frustrating to watch. Bloody frustrating to watch. Especially do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like that's the only thing they've practiced, eh?
Yeah, it was refreshing, though, just to see them. They come out, and again, they came out strong against the Chiefs, where they scored the first try, and they looked all right, but then they just lacked that composure.
Late in the piece, eh?
Yeah, just there's something going wrong, which, I mean, is showing progress, I guess, but they're still a little bit behind.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. John Mitchell will be nervous, I would have thought, with that's two games that they couldn't have won that one, but they could have played better, and that's the issue. They're letting people down. They're letting themselves down, and they're letting their fans down.
Yeah, I think the captain said at the end he essentially worded it in a nicer way, but it was like, it's not good enough now. We need to step up and start making these chances count, which is what needs to be done. And we'll see at the end of the season. But the South African team's finding it a lot harder this time around, eh? With
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, we saw the finalists last year, the Lions, getting beaten by the Jaguars. So
exactly.
You're right. Yeah, so it could be a tough run for the South African teams at the moment.
with the setup though,
Yeah.
I mean, you just really think that. Again, like I guess the conference thing's all good, but you really want to see the best teams get till the end.
Yeah.
And it's set up in a way where it kind of doesn't allow that because there's such a difference in the conference levels. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't really know the way to get around it. But anyway, that's a bit of a bigger debate,
Well,
and Luke's
like-
on here, so this could be an
Yeah,
hour.
Another-
that's it. I was just about to say, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
ooh.
It's a podcast in itself, I think.
Yeah. Just hand it over
Yeah,
to
it's a
Luke.
it's a one-person podcast here. Luke just ranted for 30 minutes.
So
Yeah.
Tune
in
after
terms
for-
of just finishing up for this week, so All Blacks room for
Oh,
4. So I guess we have Ben Lamb potentially making it in for the wing. What do you reckon?
He's put his hand up, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think the All Blacks coaches will go with proven talent, unfortunately.
yeah. But I
As
mean,
opposed to, it depends. It depends how if he keeps producing plays like that, and then it's anyone's game.
yeah. And then we've got
Any other bolters, I think, is probably what we need to focus on.
Yeah, any other bolters?
What do you think of Dixon?
No, I think-
Dixon had to start. What do we think? Is he coming back to his old self?
Oh, he was outplayed by
Gareth Evans, yeah.
Gareth Evans, which didn't help his cause. But I think now we're starting to see some regular game time by Geordie Barrett back at 15, and I'm putting it out there that I think is closest to putting pressure on Ben Smith. Obviously,
Wow.
You've not just gone there.
Wow.
That is.
No, he's the closest to putting pressure
mate,
on.
You are so.
He
delusional.
can strike a ball at 51
He can
meters.
kick.
He can
Yeah.
strike a ball at
kick,
51
yeah,
meters.
Yeah, oh great, yeah.
Hey, World Cup finals are won on kicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many kicks
Luke's
did
called
he
it-
get
Luke's
to
called
this
it here.
last game? How many points did he score?
Yeah, like I say, my picks don't actually have a lot of credibility, which
Hasn't
probably
D-Mac got
leads
the
in
most
part
points
to,
in this season so far?
this
I don't know,
week's-
just throwing it out there, just since we're going on about points.
But he's playing at 10. He's playing at 10. So he's not. I'm not sure. Can we have the debate with him at 15 while he's still playing 10?
He's played just as much
Yeah,
really at
so-
15 as he had 10 this season.
Guys, we're not gonna get anywhere with this.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens next
Yeah,
week.
yeah.
Okay.
Right, so
Yeah. Right. Wrap it up there.
Well, I
Final
wouldn't be
comments?
fair play of me to ignore the punishment for the week for getting all my picks
yeah,
wrong.
tune in for the next episode. And,
Yeah.
we'll
When we'll see that.
we'll see it happen. Yeah, before Luke
Yeah.
Oh, right.
before Luke munches on it
Sorry,
now.
guys, I thought